Todd, welcome to Inside Athletic Training. We're extremely happy to have you on for our 18th episode. We like to start each episode by asking our guests to share some information with the listeners about the Professional Baseball Athletic Trainer Society, also known as PBATS, and really just what the society means to you.
Sure, Sam. Happy to be on. PBATS has been instrumental in not only in baseball but in the field of athletic training for a unbelievable resource, educational platform, not only for peers but to get out to aspiring athletic trainers, to other athletic trainers within the industry, whether you're at the high school, collegiate, or professional levels.
Yeah, and it's definitely been an instrumental educational resource for athletic trainers and students and everybody just looking to learn more about the profession, get into the game of baseball. Well, Todd, you're currently in your 6th year as a director of sports medicine for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we'll get into your job and your career path a bit more. But first, I want to learn more about you and your background and what paths led you to where you are today in Pittsburgh. So let's take it back a bit. Where are you from? Were you an athlete playing sports growing up? And also share with the listeners where you found your passion for athletic training.
Absolutely. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, so it's been a full circle childhood dream come true. Thought I wanted to be a professional baseball player. Fastly realized that is not in the cards. So I'd always had a love for medicine. Had always had a love for sports, being outdoors, being outside. Really found a passion for baseball. Loved playing sandlot in the neighborhood, friends, with brothers, with family members. And this has been a culmination over the years of a true passion for medicine, of helping others, of serving others in the community, with family, taking care of brothers and sisters and family members when they got injured, and really identifying that there's that need in professional sports. Athletes get injured. When they do get injured, recognizing and having the empathy, understanding of what they've gone through and what they've been through and what they're about to go through, working back through an injury, whether it be minor or major.
Yeah, and we'll get into your career path here quickly. But one interesting aspect about you and your life and your career is the Pittsburgh connection and being born and raised in the place where you work. And I'm sure never in your wildest dreams could you have imagined it playing out like this. We spoke with Nick Frangel with the Cubs, Kyle Torgerson of the Mariners, and both of them are hometown kids in Chicago and Seattle, respectively. So I'm wondering if you felt more pressure or support just being in charge of the Pirates' health as the director of sports medicine for your hometown team.
Great question, Sammy. I would say both, but with great opportunity comes the pressure and the support, not only from family members, friends, but just the community at large and the organization at large. I've had a very, very interesting and very, I would say, unique path. I was extremely blessed to begin my career with the Cleveland. Back then it was the Indians, now Guardians organization. Being close to Pittsburgh, spent about 8 years with that organization, and then had the unique opportunity to go out to be the assistant athletic trainer with Los Angeles Dodgers. Never thinking, small boy from Pittsburgh, go out in the big town of Los Angeles. Had this great opportunity. Was fortunate enough to land the job and spent about 6 years out there, never thinking I'd leave. But my wife is from the Midwest, from Chicago. We had a unique opportunity to come back to Pittsburgh to basically start a family and really where our roots started in the Midwest and Pittsburgh and in the East to start a family and fulfill some of those lifelong traits that we were raised on.
Mm-hmm. And you've been with the Pirates for more than a decade now, spent 25 years in professional baseball, just a huge accomplishment for any athletic trainer. But we know everyone needs to get their start somewhere. I'd love to hear more about your first couple of years as an athletic trainer in baseball and kind of how that formed your work ethic and your path to the major leagues.
Absolutely. Just graduated college from Duquesne University. Had a coworker, actually an athletic trainer, Lee Kuntz, who we all know, had a friend that was a professor at the university I attended, and they shared with Lee that there was an opportunity with the Cleveland organization at that time for an A-ball opportunity. I said, absolutely, I'll interview. And the next thing I know, I was flying down to Winter Haven, Florida, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and had zero idea what I was doing at the age of 21. And just most of the players were older than me. Actually, a lot of the players were older than me, with the exception of some of the international players that come over from overseas. But it was just an eye-opening experience and a humbling experience to boot. Something that was instilled with me from a long time ago from my father. Have your ears and eyes wide open. Be seen and be seen first and not heard. And that is some messaging that has really stuck with me. And just to really absorb the information, observe, ask questions. Even if you think you have the answers, ask several questions before you really respond. To really dive deeper into the knowledge and the knowledge of the room. And I've been really blessed. My first experience in professional baseball, in that athletic training room in Winter Haven, Florida, there were presently and formerly over 6 head athletic trainers, with not in addition to some directors in the Cleveland organization. Extremely blessed to be led by those men and women, and it was a great time back then.
And now with almost 20 episodes of this show in the books here, we're starting to notice a trend that you kind of mentioned there, and that's the family tree of athletic training. So, who is at the top, who is training and educating all of the younger guys and women back in the day, and a lot of people who are instrumental in the development of you and many of your colleagues. I know you spent 8 years with the Cleveland Indians, now Guardians, in their minor league system. Can you talk a bit more about who you came up with in the game, like you mentioned before, and also some of those main mentors who were kind of showing you guys the way?
Absolutely. I mean, at that time, the major league staff was led by Paul Spicuzza, Jim Warfield, Jim Mahalik, and Scott Bartz. Fernando Montez was the strength coach, and their presence with our minor league athletic training group was instrumental. And those names included Rick Jameson, Nick Paparesta, Lee Kuntz, Teddy Blackwell, Jeff Desjardins, Chad Wolf, to name a few, and there are many others. And it was a family. Just because they were in the major leagues, they wanted to share their experiences with us. They wanted to share their best practices, what they learned from, what their mistakes were, and we were eyes wide open. And yeah, there was discernment at times. There was disagreement, and yes, there was some competition. We were at different levels. We were at different affiliates, one above of the next. But you would never know that. We all had each other's backs. We all called each other. We all kept in touch throughout the season, throughout the off season. If there was challenging cases or a challenging injury that we were dealing with a player or a staff member, we would have weekly calls. We would pick up the phone at any, or pager back then, and we would just call each other and connect and say, hey, I need help. And I think that was the biggest learning tool for me growing up in that culture, growing up in that environment, is that it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to be wrong, and it's okay to ask for help, because we're all in it for it together, and that's growing together, getting better together, ultimately impacting our players that we hope to keep on the field to get better.
Mm-hmm. And now that you've been in the big leagues for so long, one of the most established athletic trainers in baseball, I'm wondering what your best advice you would give to college students looking to get in the game of baseball as an athletic trainer. I know whether there's a skill set or a personality trait, everybody is looking for something different. And there's so much information out there for younger kids to absorb. And I'm sure they're wondering, what's the best piece of advice that someone in your position would provide?
That's a great question, Sam, and I get asked that commonly with some of the speaking engagements that I get asked to do, and pulling off your one word that you just used, absorb. Be a sponge. Be a sponge. Be open. Ask questions. Be curious. Open-minded. And you never know when the opportunity and when you'll get that call. You never know who's going to be at an event, at a sporting event that comes to your university, that comes to an event that you're covering as a student athletic trainer or aspiring certified athletic trainer, or at a conference. Be as professional as you can. Always have that servant mindset, that white belt mentality, that you don't have all the answers, and that you're just striving for that every day of learning something new.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I love talking to you about is the history of PBATs and your career path, because you're in such a unique position, with such great stories about, back in the day when athletic training staffs might have been just two people doing everything. You've been able to see the profession and the staffs just grow incredibly quickly, with such great innovation. So can you talk a bit about the growth of the profession and how the athletic training rooms today look much different than back when you got started?
Yes, as you've alluded to, it used to be the athletic trainer. When I started, it was not a strength conditioning coach. When I started, it was not a physical therapist, and it was not a nutritionist or mental skills coach. But I think as what we've learned and as organizations have grown and evolved, that we need different skill sets. We need different inputs. And as a certified athletic trainer, we're the master of all. We have this robust education in many different venues, many different skill set expertises, from rehab to triage to strength conditioning to mental health to just general wellness. And we can put this together in one culmination. But as the needs of the athletes grew, as the needs of organizations grew, it was important for not only organizations but medical staffs, commonly led by certified athletic trainers, to embrace new skill sets, to embrace different professions to help them do their jobs and more effectively and most efficiently.
Mm-hmm. And talking about doing your job effectively, you've definitely done that as you rise through the ranks has been super impressive. And we touched on your time in pretty vastly different locations across the country, from Los Angeles to Cleveland to Pittsburgh now. In addition to your time, in Cleveland and Pittsburgh, you mentioned your time in LA with the Dodgers. Curious to know if you noticed a big difference working in such a huge media market versus smaller ones like Pittsburgh and Cleveland when it comes to the pressures of working as an athletic trainer in those markets.
Yeah, that's a great question. And when you have time to sit and reflect on it, it's the same. They're the same players, whether it's a big market, small market. Mm-hmm. The pressures are the same. You want to make sure that you're doing the best for the player, that ultimately is doing the best for the organization, which in turn you're doing the best for your career. Just because you're in Pittsburgh or Cleveland versus Los Angeles, the pressure to keep your players on the field, to maximize or optimize their performance daily, depending on what that individual has in the tank, it really shouldn't change. Yes, at times the crowds are a little bit larger, but being biased, growing up here in Pittsburgh and Three Rivers and now PNC Park, you can pull probably most of the certified athletic trainers and most of the Major League Baseball players. Coming to PNC is just a unique opportunity, and the venue is just outstanding. The aesthetics of the stadium are really cool. Not to say that Cleveland and LA is not, but the pressures, in short, are the same. We want to do what's best medically, and as a performance team, to put our players and our organization in the best position where they can go out between the white lines and dominate their trade at any given night.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to move into a couple questions about athletic training and things within the profession that you're extremely passionate about. But to start, I know some of our listeners might be aware, some may not. And you talked about pressure, but in February, just earlier this year, you guys had a visitor at spring training who suffered a heart attack on the field during batting practice. Knowing you for many years, like I have, you're the last guy who wants to talk about yourself or take credit for anything, let alone saving someone's life and just dealing with that pressure-filled situation. But can you talk a little bit about what happened, and just how important it is for athletic trainers and your staff to be prepared and trained for events such as these?
Yes, that was I'll never forget that day. That was just an unbelievable event. Fortunately for that individual, fortunately, our team of certified athletic trainers, medical doctors, clubhouse staff, everybody was prepared to help save this man's life. The early intervention of CPR, the early intervention of the AED, our minor league athletic trainers knowing exactly where the location of the AED was, to our clubhouse staff making sure that the path was clear for the ambulance to come through. From the time this individual went down to the time he was resuscitated and came back to life, it was within 3 minutes of time. By the time he went down in the AD, it was less than 45 seconds. So the early intervention, being prepared, you didn't wake up that morning thinking you were going to be part of a team that helped save someone's life. The access to AEDs at our facility, fortunately for that individual, he was at our site that day, because if he wasn't, I'm not sure if we would have the same outcome. And the response to the community, the response to the organization was unbelievable. The community down in Florida has now implemented that all their facilities that they have locally there at the county have at least AEDs and are equipped with staff members that know how to use the AEDs and are certified in CPR and first aid. So it was extremely humbling experience to be part of a team that was prepared and then helped save ultimately someone's life.
Yeah, and I can't imagine how that experience weighed on you and your staff mentally, just knowing how serious that event was that day. You guys handled that with such skill and obviously composure, doing a great job there. And mental health, like I mentioned, is one aspect of your job and your career that you've always been incredibly progressive and passionate about, and just willing to learn and going above and beyond. As we wrap up Mental Health Awareness Month throughout the country, I'm wondering if you can share a bit more info about what got you interested in learning about the benefits of positive mental health care for both athletic trainers and the athletes in your care.
Absolutely. Coming out of that event that we just discussed, the cardiac episode in spring training, there was a debriefing session, and amongst all individuals that were involved, whether it was the first responders or the individuals that were making sure that the path was cleared for the ambulance. And we all need support. And that is a life traumatic event, and that happened. And fortunately, we have a robust network in the organization, inside and outside, to provide resources to help break down and help discuss and to help validate and to help process those feelings that were experienced before, during, and after. Mental health in general. This was something that's been near and dear to me, probably back to the high school days. I had teammates, I had classmates that really suffered, and it was go get help, go to a general counselor, which was awesome, which was the right thing to do, but there was just a missing piece. There was a missing piece of the understanding of what that classmate, that teammate was going through in that time. So I've always been curious and wondered, is there more? Is there somebody else? Is there something else? Is there a different skill set? Is there a bridge, if you must? And through my career, we found and discovered different programs. We found and discovered different training sessions, not only the robust network of psychologists, psychiatrists, but just general mental skill coaches, people that you can talk to. Over the years, the athletic training room, which I'm sure you've heard from different episodes, that the athletic training room is where these players can unload. They can unload about their frustrations. They can unload about whether they're struggling on the field, they're struggling at home. They just need an outlet, and voicing that they're not okay. It is okay to be not okay, and that has really resonated with me, to be a passive listener. Not only be a passive listener, but in front of my mind, okay, if I'm hearing signs and symptoms that this person's not okay, how do I trigger the next steps? What are the next steps? How do I pivot to get them, the athlete, the individual, the care that they need, and also give them guidance if it's a family member that's struggling for them, and how they can get and help their family member. So very passionate about it. Thank you for asking. A lot of work to be done, and I'm fortunate enough to be on a team and a society such as PBATS that is just as passionate.
Yeah, and equally as passionate as, the people up at MLB headquarters. John Coyle's leading the charge there to provide resources and care for all players in need and their family when it comes to mental health and well-being. Over the past couple of years, you've been so involved in this. Have you seen a change in the clubhouse and in the training room in terms of players opening up about their mental health? And like you said, just being okay, not being okay at all times. And, I know we see these are professional athletes. They have the life everybody dreamed of as a kid, but have you seen a difference of people sharing more about how they feel and things about their mental health?
Absolutely. Thanks to gentlemen that you just mentioned, John Coyles and the commissioner's office, the Players Association alike, the awareness, and I still believe we're just scratching the surface here, the awareness of treating a mental health injury no different than we're treating a shoulder or elbow injury, that the players can feel confident, that they can feel open enough to know that to destigmatize that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to suffer from anxiety and depression, knowing that we as an organization, we as a league are there to support them. We are there to get them the appropriate help, and it could be a day, it could be a couple days. They could get help for the rest of their life, but they could also continue to do what they love the most, and that's play baseball. So yes, I have seen a shift. Does the shift need to continue to grow deeper and become more? Absolutely. But we're definitely off to a great start through the collaboration of the league, through the collaboration of the owners, through the collaboration of the Players Association. We just want to help people. We want to put them in the best position that they can feel mentally, so they can go out and physically meet the demands of the game.
Mm-hmm. And for many younger athletic trainers out there who might not have a huge interest in mental health and well-being at this point, as they either are a student or getting into their career, can you share just a bit about how important and impactful the knowledge you've obtained about mental health care has been for you and your staff as just the sports medicine professionals?
Absolutely. Whether the young aspiring athletic trainers or students don't have a passion or interest in it, I believe most curriculums are now focusing on it, and you're going to undoubtedly encounter athletes, staff members, family members of these athletes, and staff members that are suffering from a mental health illness. So to be aware, to have the antennas up, to have that servant mindset, to have that empathy, to feel for what these players and families are going through, and to know how to pivot and to get the professional help that they need, will only continue to enhance your career as a certified athletic trainer, but it'll just enhance your career as a person and be most attractive to many other organizations other than just professional sports, collegiate sports, or high school sports. Companies and people will recognize your empathy. They'll recognize your servant heart, and your ability to problem solve with all kinds of individuals.
And the one last question about the mental health topic. One thing I find very, very interesting about you and the athletic training profession as a whole is just how many hats you all wear during a normal day. Um, are you finding that your knowledge in the mental health field is something that really allows your players to look to you for advice? I know you're not their therapist, you're not a psychiatrist, but you mentioned the training room is somewhere where guys can relax and be in private and share, intimate stories and just how they're feeling. Are you finding that your knowledge is really a true resource for those players and something they come to you for?
Yeah, I think the knowledge is there, the skill set knowledge that you're viewed as that, but most importantly is our abilities as certified athletic trainers to make that connection, our ability to build that trust, our abilities not only to act as a liaison but as a resource and a confidant, and a person that the players can truly trust and unwind and unload their thoughts and emotions and feelings. And it's a tricky thing to balance because we do work for an organization, and the players know that. But when you have their trust, when you know that at that moment in time you have them and only them on your mind, and you want to help them through something, that individual will continue to have the trust in you and will continue to come back to you just to bounce ideas off you. We don't have the answers. I certainly don't have all the answers. But what I like to share with these athletes, if I don't have it, I'm going to help you find the right people, the right resource for you to get the necessary help.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I know mental health is just, like you said, going to become more and more important in sports and in the workplace. And it's clearly you guys are doing an awesome job in Pittsburgh and throughout the league to educate on that topic. One last thing I want to talk to you about is, overall looking back at your career, obviously you're still cruising along in Pittsburgh, but you've worked Major League Baseball All-Star games, World Baseball Classics, been part of the Major League Baseball Athletic Training Staff of the Year in 2014, even an adjunct faculty member at Duquesne University, all really amazing honors that you deserve more than anyone. Is there something you credit, outside of the hard work and just persistence every day, that you credit for really just creating a fantastic career in baseball?
Well, I appreciate that. I'm not sure if I see it the same way, but thanks, Sam. I'd be remiss if I wouldn't say my family, notably my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and my two children, just to be the rock, to allow me to have a career, to allow me to be away from my family as long as I have been at times during the season. Not only my wife and my kids, but my friends, my network, my best network of friends. Just the support and knowing that during the baseball season, probably don't talk to me a whole lot, or they don't see me.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is great, text messages is great, but going out and having a cup of coffee or going to get dinner is far and few between. But would be highly remiss if all the credit goes to my immediate family, notably my wife and two children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Obviously, hugely important and difficult to be present when you're on the road so much, like you guys are. But one thing you do have is you're surrounded by a really awesome staff in Pittsburgh. Your family at the ballpark, Rafael Freitas, Tony Leo, many other people. So at this point, I want to give you some time just to reflect and recognize your assistants and other people within your organization who make things go every day.
Oh, no question. You're only as good as your weakest link, and on my team, I am the weakest link. That's for certain. I'm definitely not the smartest person in the room, and that's the way I prefer it. I want to surround my people around really smart individuals. Individuals you just named: Rafael Freitas, Tony Leo, Seth Steinauer, our strength coaches, Terrence Brock, Adam Vish, our massage therapist. Sarah Hubble. I mean, this group is relentless. This group is extremely intelligent, passionate, all the attributes and traits we just talked about. And it's extremely humbling to be part of this group because they push me every day. and they're the ones that keep the engine going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clearly you guys are doing an awesome job there in Pittsburgh. You've been around together for a while now, and just that continuity really is cool to see in Pittsburgh and everything you're doing. Well, Todd, I appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for joining the show. Just to wrap up today's episode, we're going to finish with a quick Q&A segment on the show that we call Extra Bases. So I'm going to ask you 4 quick questions and allow you to share some insight into some of your favorite things about athletic training in baseball. So I know it'll be tough to not be Pittsburgh biased here, but we'll give it a run. So starting off at first base, what is your favorite athletic training room outside of Pittsburgh to work in the big leagues?
I would say visiting clubhouse, Chase Field, run by Bob Doty. Give him some props.
Okay, there you go. That's the first time we've heard that. We've had an overwhelming amount of Atlanta responses, so it's cool to hear that you have another take there from your colleagues across the league. Moving on to second base here, what's your favorite Major League Baseball stadium to watch a game from the dugout?
I gotta go PNC Park. Sorry.
No, as someone who's been there and seen you guys there, I don't think you're wrong. I think a lot of our guests have actually said PNC. You really can't beat the scenery, the backdrop, the bridge. It's really an amazing place there. So I think you're spot on with that one. Moving on to third base here. What is your favorite city to visit on the road?
Favorite city would be Chicago, close second, San Diego.
Okay, you can't beat the lakefront in Chicago during the summer, and I know you have family there too, so really an obvious answer there for people that know you. Moving on to home plate, we've had some really interesting answers from hazing to taking the field on opening day. Did you have a welcome to the big league moment at some point during one of the first few years as a Major League Baseball athletic trainer?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know if it's for this audience, but no, I think but first big league opportunity before a full-time Major League job was when I was with the Cleveland organization, and Jimmy Warfield had passed away many years ago. There was a transition between when Rick Jameson was the AAA athletic trainer, and I was running the rehabs at the time. I traveled on the charter plane and had no idea what that was all about. People just handing you food, hand and foot at any venture, and then going into Kansas City Stadium and seeing all your clothes and your bag hung up, everything just hawked the visiting clubhouse, and then being taken out by the staff for barbecue after the game. It was that was my first exposure, albeit it was a very, very, very short time. As a minor league staff member, it was a short trip for 3 days, but that was my first experience in the big leagues. And then in Los Angeles, just driving from the LAX airport to Pasadena for the interview, that was like, wow, this is what the show's all about. An hour and a half commute and a $100 taxi cab. Eventually got reimbursed. But there's so many little nuances from hazing to opening day flyovers that every opening day, I talk about this commonly with Tony Leo here in Pittsburgh, never take them for granted. Opening days are special, and you only get one opening day, but to have as many as I've had, I'm extremely fortunate, extremely grateful, and blessed.
Yeah, and it's really just awesome to hear you and all your colleagues who have been on the show to how you guys talk about how much you appreciate just the opportunities that the game of baseball has given you. So really cool to hear there. Well, Todd, thanks so much for joining the show. I really appreciate your time and your dedication to PBATs, and we wish you and your staff in Pittsburgh nothing but the best the rest of the way through this season.
Sam, thank you for continuing to do all you do for PBATs, and this is a great episode, great series that you're encountering and doing. So thank you.
All right, Todd, I appreciate it, man. We're good to go. Like I said, thanks again. I know you're super busy, taking some time away from your day, so really appreciate it.
Hey, Sam, appreciate it. Good luck with the baby. I'm sure we'll be talking before then.
All right, and I'll shoot you that research from Charlotte's Web over right now, and just give me a call if you have any questions.
All right, will do. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.